Hi, I'm Flynn.
And I'm Richard.
And together we are TrickyBricks, and we are contestants on Season 1 of LEGO Masters US. So we're here today to talk a little bit about Episode 2 and answer some of your questions. So, Episode 2 was Space Smash. And Richard, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what we had to do?
Okay, for Episode 2, each of the 10 teams had to make a space-themed creation that was going to be destroyed in one of three ways. Either the Big Bang, which was explosives on the inside, Spaceball Bat, where Will hit it with a bat, or Gravity Drop, which was about 20 feet from a balcony onto the floor.
It was a pretty daunting thing, I have to tell you, because we had to actually build something that was going to be strong enough to hold itself together, but also weak enough so that when it got hit by that bat, it was going to explode into a million pieces.
One of the things that they didn't say much on the episode, although you saw it with Kara and Jesse, is that we actually had to carry our creation either up onto the balcony or about 15 feet onto a pedestal. So it had to be strong enough to be supported by just hand carrying it.
So ours was going to be a space volcano with a monster living inside. So we wanted to get some nice organic shapes, and we've had luck in the past by using these little ball joints, as you can see. And we pieced together the plates with ball joints and then attached, again with ball joints, these plates onto our Technic beams. Mm-hmm. And it was going to look great. I think we were actually both really excited about it. It was a cool method.
This is a method we've used in the past to make really organic shapes and flowing rock surfaces. But it takes a lot of time.
So the biggest problem we were having is the hinges that we used here would not continue hanging on to the inner structure. Every time we would try to move it around, another one would fall off, and then another one would fall off. And we knew that we weren't going to be able to last very long in the competition if we carried something up that fell apart while we were walking up there. So, about 3 hours into an 11-hour challenge, we had to completely change directions. It was rather difficult to do. I had a hard time letting go of our original method. I just felt that it provided such a beautiful organic shape and it had worked so well for us in the past. You're like, why isn't it working this time? So that definitely added a bunch of pressure onto it. So we decided at that 3 hour mark that we needed to sort of re-engineer and pick a new method of construction for our mountain. And we also, at the same time, we had to build our monster, which was, lots of tentacles sticking out. We had to create a scene. We had to create a story. And at the same time, we also had to be thinking about how is this going to explode best when the bat hits it.
Yeah, so it is a real juggling act between all of those things. And if we had unlimited time, we could balance that no problem at all.
So we decided that we had to opt for a different design, and this was the design that Richard came up with, and it was actually pretty brilliant and worked out pretty well for us in the end.
So we made this volcano, and it was going to have the tentacles coming out and a city on top, and then a cave, a hollow in the middle that the monster was going to live in. And what we decided to do was get rid of all the plates and just do studs up building and build all these little tables. So this is a view from the top of the volcano, and you can see rows and rows and rows, about 40 little tables. And the key to having it smash apart was that none of the tables was connected to any of the others. They're all these just sort of free-floating things. And for a lot of them even, I just put one leg like this, and so they were all these little wibbly tables, and then when they came apart, the idea was that all these gouts of lava, which were these zigzag yellow 2x2 bricks, yellow, red, and orange, would come out.
It was really scary, especially because we had built the whole thing on regular base plates, which are already pretty flimsy, and then you've got these little sort of one-legged tables sitting on top of it. So, needless to say, it was quite a difficult carry. And they didn't really show us carrying it, which is good. And I think I know why. Probably because most of the carries took about 5 minutes to go 15 feet just to get everybody, to carry their things across. So, that was, it was really difficult. I think one of the things, if I had to say, I wasn't really entirely happy with the way the final model came out. Once we had built all the tables and got everything together, and Richard had practiced carrying it around a bunch of times, we really just kind of had to start putting bricks down. We didn't really have a whole lot of time left. It was just like putting bricks, putting bricks, putting bricks.
To cover the outside with a skin that would look like rock surface.
And we also didn't want a lot of holes inside. So, and at the same time, we're trying to press things down onto these rickety little tables, and things didn't get squished down, which was great for the explosion, not so great for the carry.
No, I actually had to memorize for each of the little tables. I had to memorize where the support was so I could press down on it so I could actually squish other bricks on. Oh, and have that not happen.
So in the end, we ended up with a sort of mass of color, and they were definitely the colors we wanted, but they weren't colors in the way that we wanted.
They weren't organized and separated. I try and think about like jelly beans or country shapes, just fractal globs of color as opposed to confetti all over the place.
And this we were just rushing so hard to get it done that we were just placing things down. So in the end, I think it kind of had a patchwork quilt quality to it that I wasn't super excited about, but what I was really excited about was what we decided to do for our explosion. We think a lot about color and a lot in color. So what we decided to do was that we wanted the outside of our mountain to be all blue, green, and purple, while the inside would be all yellow, red, and orange. So when that thing finally did explode, you would kind of get a color story. You would see all of these blues suddenly turn into oranges, and we didn't know if that was going to work out or not.
But it did. It worked out exactly the way we wanted. The bat sliced through, and we were afraid it would be like a katana sword, just like a slice of cake. But it exploded the whole thing towards the camera, and you had this skin of blue and green and purple opening up, and then the lava just like blah right out of it.
And I had made a micro space city out of all white and transparent bricks on the top. Now you couldn't really see a whole lot of it in the show, but when you actually watch the slow motion explosion of it, the city just kind of like lifts off the top of the mountain and sort of like blows into the air. Yeah. It was really cool. So we were very nervous leading up to that, and the carry was extremely difficult. But I think we were both really happy with the way the explosion came out, and just like going back and looking at it again, I remember looking up on that big screen, and they showed it up where the clock usually is, all of it exploding, and you could see that color story. You could just see blue and green and purple bricks, and then suddenly they parted, and it just turned into that red and orange and yellow.
And that's when you see us just jump up and down. We're so excited.
It was really satisfying. So I just wanted to address a moment that I know everybody saw, and that was me getting really, really stressed out, and Richard calming me down like he does. And I will say that while you got to see me freaking out, you didn't actually get to see what had happened that kind of led up to that moment. Right, so we had already decided that we had to redesign. So 3 hours in, we're redesigning. I'm already feeling the stress. We have a check-in with the judges, and our mountain was very tall. Like, we had something really, really tall. And they
like Devil's Tower from Space... Close Encounters, right?
Yes.
Really tall and thin. So
we were really afraid, or actually the judges were really afraid that that bat was just going to come in, slice out the middle, and leave the rest of it. So they really encouraged us that maybe tall and skinny wasn't the way to go, which, we thought was pretty good advice. So we took one level off of it, which I know we showed on the show, was taking the level off.
Kind of like a wedding cake, we just took the top tier off.
Well, what you didn't see was we had another check-in with the judges where they again expressed concern about the height of it. So we went ahead and took another level off. So now our piece is getting shorter and shorter, while we're thinking it needs to be built big, and we still want to achieve this kind of, volcanic silhouette that we were looking for. So we're really nervous. We know that we're counting a lot on how Will is going to hit this for it to explode properly, and is that going to work out? So I started really, really getting stressed out, and then Richard was carrying the model around. So talking about
I am literally around the table like this. I don't know, maybe 6 times I did that over the course of while we were building.
So we're redesigning. We've redesigned. I'm watching the carrying going on, just waiting for the thing to fall apart. We've got this really rickety structure, and now 2 check-ins with the judges saying that we needed to make it smaller, and we made it smaller. Then I think that they could tell that I was getting really stressed out, and the judges came back around
a third time.
maybe you misinterpreted our advice. And after they said that, that was when I really just kind of like went over the edge. Like after that last check-in, that was kind of it for me. I had taken in so much, and we had changed so much, and the clock was counting down that I really just kind of lost it. But thankfully, Richard was there, and he knows how to calm me down, and he was able to kind of like get me back to where we were working again. But I was really afraid that my resistance to changing our original design set us back so long that we were not going to be completed in time. And I think that's really was the main part of my stress.
Well, we were kind of stuck, right? Because the clock keeps ticking and you still keep building, and we look around and everyone else is still building, and we just didn't want to have a piece that looked like a pile of bricks.
Exactly. But I think in the end, we ended up really happy with, I could have been happier with the silhouette of the mountain. I think we both could, and with our color well, not our color choices, because I think our color choices were pretty solid.
Our color placement.
Our color placement definitely needed some improvement. And if I could do it again, definitely I would have rethought that a little bit, placement of various colors. But I'm really happy with the way the monster came out.
Yeah.
I was really happy with our story and our minifigures and the way that we were added on. And I was really personally happy with the Micro City on the top. And I wish we could have gotten to see a little bit more of that in the close-ups. But well, maybe if we're lucky, we can find a picture of it that we'll be able to share with you at a later date. So now to talk about kind of the bummer part of the episode was saying goodbye to Jesse and Kara. They were such wonderful people, and I know that...
Well, they still are. We talk to them regularly.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't say were. They're still around. I just want to say they're such wonderful people, and we had such a good time. We went to the movies with them when we were there, and just... They're very wonderful and supportive, and Kara, I know there's a lot of talk about like, oh, her facial expressions, is she really like that? And yes, I can confirm that Kara is 100% her all the time, what you see, and she's delightful, and we just love her to death. And it was the first elimination, and it was really, really difficult to see people go. You form bonds with these people. And they're like our family, and to see them go was extremely tough.
Well, after the whole casting process, and then the first episode, and in the first episode, we didn't know that no one was going home either. So there's that whole emotional roller coaster. And think about it, the first episode we built for 15 hours together, and then 11 hours on this one. So we had a lot of time in the pressure cooker.
Exactly. So. Bye, Jesse and Kara. We love you. And we can't wait to see what else you are going to build in the future. So now, let's talk a little bit about some questions. I've been putting out on our Facebook and our Instagram some, an opportunity for people to ask us questions about the show. And we have a couple ones that people sort of asked repeatedly that we thought that we would address here. And let's go ahead and look at some of those now. So one of the ones that we got was, did we get to screen the episodes before they actually come on TV?
I wish.
I know. The answer to that is a solid no. We do not get to see before it happens. We actually have to wait and see it along with all of you and everybody out there.
And that's good and bad, right? Because the good of it is we get to relive all these moments and see things the other teams did that we may not have gotten to see. But those cameras were rolling for a long time, so we never know what moment they're going to pick.
You never know what you're going to see or not going to see, as the case may be. And it's also interesting because we live on the West Coast, and everybody else gets to see it about 3 hours before we do, or sometimes 2 hours before we do. So we never really know. Like, we start getting reports, oh, we saw you guys, oh, you were in for a minute.
Well, it helped release the tension, actually.
And then somebody says to me, oh, we saw you guys hugging. I was like, oh, okay, I know what happened then.
Yeah.
So at least I was kind of a little prepared for when that comes on.
But we're also really excited because, as you know, we're going to be on episode 3, and we think we have some exciting things to show you.
So another question we had was, who cleaned up all of that stuff after the explosions? So there was definitely bricks everywhere. And we had the safety goggles on, and I think a few bricks might have made it over
They
to
did.
us.
They went whizzing from the explosions, especially right by our face.
Right. So it was really interesting. So as soon as the explosion would happen and we would get set up for the next one, a whole like crew would come out with people with push brooms pushing around. And actually a few times Brickmaster Jamie and Brickmaster Amy and Will actually pulled out brooms and were like sweeping up stuff. I gotta say their duties went far beyond judging and hosting. They always, had a little something going on, helping out and talking to us and stuff. So that's how that worked out. Here's another question that we get a lot is, was the drama real? A lot of people seem to think that it's scripted, or that we are told to behave in a certain way, or not in a certain way, and I have to say that is absolutely not the case. Yeah, so all of the reactions and all the things that we said and all the way that we reacted to each other was definitely real. So there was nothing scripted, nobody told us how to act or anything else like that. What you were seeing was 100% us, the good and the bad.
One thing I will say about that, though, too, is, and we're really happy with this episode. It's great. We're super psyched. But building for 26 hours in the first 2 episodes, they had hundreds of hours of footage. So they could have showed us putting bricks together, talking about snot techniques. And so the things they choose to show aren't things that we decide. We're just, we're happy with the way it turned out, but it's not the cast that decides. There's going to be dramatic moments when you're in a stressful competition, and they did decide to make it hard, and they made it harder and harder as the season goes on.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely moments of stress.
Well, that about wraps it up for today. So thanks everybody for tuning in for our very first YouTube video ever, and our first talk about Lego Masters Season 1. And we will probably go back and do sort of like a retro video on Episode 1, Dream Park Theme Park, which was a lot of fun for us. And they didn't really show a lot of our builds, so there's definitely parts of that we would love to share with all of you. So if you have questions for our next time, please send us an email, and you can contact us at flynn@trickybricks.com. You can check us out on Instagram at TrickyBricks, and obviously you know how to find us on YouTube, because here you are watching our video.
Yep.
So thanks everybody so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. All right.
Bye.
Bye.